Welcome in DNVR Bets Daily, RK, alongside Professor Dre, a.k.a. the Math Magician. And Mr. Math Magician, I don't know if you know this, but you are in the presence of a man who is undefeated betting on the Korean Baseball League. Never in my life have I lost a bet on the Korean Baseball League.
So true. And I have never won a bet on Korean baseball, on the other hand, despite my Dinos winning gloriously in shutout fashion. 4-0. They did not cover the 8.5 total runs. I'm glad, though, I wasn't stripped of my nickname because of this loss, and concerned that after one win, your sunglasses have increased in ridiculousness to this extent already.
Oh, these old things? No, these have nothing to do with me being undefeated in the history of my career betting on the Korean Baseball League. These are just in the normal rotation for me.
Well, that's off to you, good sir.
We'll circle back to the KBO. By the way, Korean baseball, man, I was watching my LG Twins on a Twitch stream, and man, the KBO knows how to stream a game. I mean, perfect quality. And
that's true.
I have to say, I could tell the announcers were with each other, not calling a game over Zoom, because there wasn't all this awkwardness. I would honestly, and I give a pass to everyone because production quality is difficult right now in these times.
Sure.
But it still really bugs me. So I would honestly rather listen to a game being called in Korean, in which I understand 0 words, than hear a game where they're talking all over each other. It's all messy.
It was rough on ESPN for my Dinos. I should have known to switch bets and switch teams right then and there, because they were talking over each other, either too much silence or talking over each other. It was just, they could never find that rhythm. It's so tough. I mean, we get it, but I think at some point you kind of find that rhythm of I'm staying put or I'm jumping and I'm going. Like no one get in my way.
My advice for them, and I don't know how to fix this, but I could see it. Yeah. I'm watching you, so I know when you stop talking. Well, they're trying to watch the game, and so they're not seeing each other, and that's where the miscommunications are happening. Anyways, we could talk about this kind of stuff all night, but this is what the people came for. The people want good bets, and oh boy, do I think we've uncovered another one. Logged on to DraftKings today. And I should tell you guys that soon we are going to have a little thing called a DNVR special, which is something that DraftKings and DNVR cook up together. We kind of toss them an idea, they set a line on it, and then we're going to come here and talk about it. And we're going to have some really fun stuff. Yeah. But in the meantime, just opened up old DraftKings this morning, went into the player prop bets, and right there, just sitting in front of me, a mine of gold. The line, Mr. Math Magician, a.k.a. Professor Dre, is Drew Lock touchdown passes. Now, I have to tell you, I talked to you this morning before I logged into DraftKings, and you said, this would be a good line. Drew Lock over-under touchdown passes 25. I thought to myself, yeah, that would be a fun line to discuss on the show. And then I went on there. And the Drew Lock over-under on touchdown passes, 20.5. Over-under 20.5. And just for funsies, I sent a text over to Zach Stevens and Andrew Mason and said, hey, if you were going to set the over-under on Drew Lock touchdown passes, what would you have it at? Zach Stevens came in at 26.5. And then Mace, he's always
the voice of reason. Fine.
The voice of reason, absolutely. You know what he said it at? 21. So that's still a hit on his line there. So 20.5 is the number on Drew Lock touchdown passes, even after they built the whole offense around him. They bring in a first round and a second round pick to give him more weapons. And the entire front office, the entire organization is saying, we need to score more points. Well, in this day and age, in the National Football League, you score points by throwing touchdown passes.
Yeah, and it's really, they're just baiting you, because I don't believe there's a lower touchdown line on this list either. And we'll get to some of Locke's competition here. How I came up with 25 was that, based on the 5 games that Drew Lock played last year, nothing phenomenal, 7 touchdowns in 5 games. As far as passing touchdowns, that was one of the more pedestrian stats from his fairly impressive 5-game stretch to start the season. So that projects out to 22 touchdowns over a 16-game season at the same pace as he was as a rookie. You forget, the new offensive coordinator. You forget all the new weapons, the extra year of experience, the fact that he didn't even practice last year. Forget all that. And he still would have had 22 touchdowns over the season. I said, well, you factor in some improvement, you get to 25, right? That's where the discussion becomes fun. 20 and a half. He should get to 20 and a half in 14 games, again, at the pace and play of last year, where he had some up and down games. So it's really, this is another one where I think the public's going to catch up. It's going to pick it up. The Colorado bettors are going to start pumping some money in this DraftKings app, and you're not going to get 20 and a half for very much longer.
Yeah, we should honestly start, feeding these tips to friends and family because before we come on here and say it in public, it feels like insider trading or something. But, we're not always going to pick a Broncos bet that we think is a fantastic value. Right. And I don't want anyone to think we're just being homers here by starting off with 2 Broncos bets that we love. But I'm being completely honest when I say I logged on this morning looking for a bet, and this is the first one that jumped out to me, and I'm with you. Like you said, last year he's on pace for 22 touchdown passes. They are projecting here regression, and to me, while I can understand why Drew Lock would be a regression quote-unquote candidate, just because the league didn't have film on him, this and that, but my eye test tells me he's an NFL quarterback.
Yes.
And the offense around him just got significantly better. I won't go position by position like I did last night, but the point is the entire group around him just got better. And we'll leave out the fact that even Melvin Gordon is a good receiving back, and we know he has a nose for the goal line, but that's also going to maybe take away from Drew Lock touchdown passes. But when you look at the options, when he gets inside the 20s, he's going to have Jerry Jeudy getting open, at the drop of a hat. He's going to have KJ Hamler burning through the middle or wherever you're sending him. He's going to have Noah Fant, a big target. Albert Okwebunam, or now as I'm going to call him, Albert Ochocinco, because he just picked number 85. He is going to be an option, which, as we know, Drew Lock loved to find him at Missouri. Noah Fant is going to be an option. And I still haven't mentioned the Pro Bowl receiver for 1,000 yards last year, Cortland Sutton, who we know is a jump ball king. So
yes,
I think that this is an absolute steal. And if I were listening to this, I would go to DraftKings, use the code DNVR, sign up, and get some money down on this ASAP because, like you said, I think this one, just like the Broncos win total, is going to slowly creep its way up. I mean, I can't find out, except for the fact the whole regression idea, I can't really figure out why this is so low. And I knew people were sleeping on Drew Lock, but man, this is fast asleep.
Yeah, I mean, what would even the devil's advocate argument be aside from injuries, right? I mean, that's the problem. You could, because and I try to scope everything out by poking holes in it. That's where I have trouble even seeing. I mean, where's my argument for under 20 and a half?
Yeah, and I think, and I'm trying to pull this up right now, and I'll see if I can tell you. I think what it would be is just how anemic the Broncos have been on the offensive side of the football for 4 years now. Obviously, where we come from and being in Denver, we're really seeing a team that is improving rapidly. And we're looking for reasons as to why this football team is going to improve. And I think they're right there. They're right there in front of you. We talked about it last night. They've improved at almost every position on the field. They haven't gotten worse at really any, except for the one that I mentioned. And you disagreed with him. Look at that. We got someone getting in on it before it jumps up here. Well, Chris K Hill. Shout out to Chris Hill for tuning in and for taking our advice. But I think, let's see if I can find the total passing touchdowns. It's not right here in front of me.
For the Broncos last season?
Yep. But here's, this will illustrate it for you pretty well. They scored 28 touchdowns total last season. Total.
Yeah, so 16 passing touchdowns.
16? Mm-hmm. So that's
7, though, were lock in 5 games.
Right, exactly. So I think that's why people are a little bit hesitant here, a little bit hesitant on the Broncos. They have been trash on offense.
Sure. Right.
You and I, and just about anyone probably listening to this, has watched every game, and it's like watching molasses drip down a wall or something like that. Yeah. It's brutal. But I think that this is where, being in market and having the closer look at things gives you a little bit of advantage. The national eye is not paying attention to the Broncos except for, the love that they're getting for the draft class they had. The national eye isn't really seeing that this is a team that could improve dramatically on offense. The bar is set so low. So you mentioned the Daniel Jones numbers, and that really excited me.
Yeah, because the Pat Shurmur factor is really huge in here. And, again, you want to talk anemic offenses. How many, and we do this professionally, how many Giants targets that Daniel Jones was throwing to can we even name off the top of our head?
Benny Fowler, Cody Latimer.
well, you got me there. You wanted to go deep. That's true. It's the wide receiver options, though, were limited outside of Sterling Shepard. And you do have a nice tight end in Ingram and Saquon Barkley, but, comparable to guys that the Broncos have. He was averaging under Pat Shurmur as a rookie, Daniel Jones, 1.8 touchdowns per game last year. 1.4 is what Locke was averaging. That over 16 games, though, that difference of 0.4, that comes out to 29.5 touchdowns for Daniel Jones in 2016. And just think, I don't think it's, anytime I see, and DK has Daniel Jones's touchdown line at 25.5. Mm-hmm. And anyone who knows me is anytime I see Daniel Jones getting better stuff than Drew Lock, I'm a bit triggered. You
and me both, because we sat there on the field in Mobile, Alabama. Literally as close as I am to this computer from Daniel Jones and Drew Lock, and watched Lock just absolutely outperform him. It'll never make any sense to me how, one, Daniel Jones went number 6 overall, and 2, how Drew Lock went so much further after him. That's something that I think will be talked about for a long, long time as a big miss, but it still hasn't quite proven itself out. And again, that's why you're getting an opportunity like this one that DraftKings has presented here. I don't know about you. I'll probably take the under on Daniel Jones. Talk about regression. You're losing Pat Shurmur. Yep. And he really tailed off after a pretty hot start. He earned that Danny Dimes nickname, and I was sweating. I was actually sweating because when we were at the Senior Bowl, we obviously didn't know Drew Lock was going to be a Denver Bronco. Right. And you can go back and listen to those podcasts. We were in love with Drew Lock from day one, and we could not stand Daniel Jones.
Oh, yeah.
And so throughout last season, I thought you saw him start to regress to the mean a little bit, and I think that's going to bear itself out again this year.
Right. That's definitely a guy who I think, teams might have started to figure out, and adjusting to a new coordinator and not adding too many weapons on that offense. That's going to allow him, he might plateau a bit. Well, Locke, I think the arrow is just pointing up, and the New York bias is what's really playing into this, right? Because if Daniel Jones was in Denver and the numbers were all the same and Drew Lock was in New York, the situation's almost certainly reversed.
That's another situation where I'm like, we literally said, and I'll stop talking about the Senior Bowl here in a second, but we literally said on the podcast after we met Daniel Jones, if I were the Giants, I would not want guy dealing with the New York media. And I'm sure he'll figure it out over time, but he was not cut out for it. And if there's anyone who is cut out for dealing with cutthroat media, it's Drew Lock. And another reason why I think they'll be kicking themselves when they go back 10 years from now and look at that decision. But This is a nice little opportunity here, 20.5, and that the Daniel Jones thing. You mentioned that Drew was on pace for 22.5, but I think or 22, but I think the Daniel Jones numbers excite me even more when it comes to this line. Pat Shurmur is going to really want to pump the ball into the end zone with Drew Lock. And every move that the Broncos have made have shown us that, except for, of course, Melvin Gordon. And if you're Drew Lock, if you're even a better on this line, you still want Melvin Gordon to get red zone touchdowns. You've got 16 games here to hit 21.
Right.
You want Melvin Gordon to take a little bit of the pressure off Drew, so when they get into the red zone, they're a little more unpredictable.
Absolutely.
But in the end, I think that Drew has a chance to not just get 21, but get closer to 30 and really blow this line away. And this could be a week 12 type of cover.
Yeah, totally. I think by late August, this line will be at 22, and that'll be covered by Thanksgiving.
All right, there you go. So go on, hit up DraftKings, use the code DNVR, and we thank DraftKings for presenting this show here, as we are going to be bringing it to you every day, every night. We've been going evenings early here. We'll probably settle out a little earlier as time goes on, but this has been fun. As you can see, future still very bright. Get on, hit up DraftKings, use the code DNVR, take advantage of some of their sign-up bonuses. They have a couple cool ones. One, they'll give you a free bet that matches the first bet you make. So if you're thinking, oh my God, I want to hammer this, or I want to go hammer the 7.5, we'll take advantage of that free first bet. Whatever first bet you make, they're going to match it, I believe, up to $200, and you'll get a free bet of the same size. So if you want, you could go put a sum on the Broncos over the 7.5, and then if you want, you can go, you'll get that matched, and you could throw that on this one, and then towards the end of the season, you'll be able to cash in on both of those. So hit up DraftKings and check that out. And then we got to talk about my new favorite sports league, the KBO. And just in time for Chris Hill's comment here, he says he needs to start cashing tickets. Well, I can't relate, because I cashed one last night at 2 a.m. My LG Twins went in and just dominated the Doosan Bears on banner night. Like, Doosan comes in, they've got the patch on their sleeve for winning. What is it? The KSC?
KSC, the Korean Series Championship, I believe.
That's kind of messed up. Like, the U.S. is like, this is the World Series, and everyone else is like, what? Like, well, I guess ours is just the Korean Series if they got the whole world. Anyways, they go in there on banner night and just shellac them. 8-2, I believe, was the final. My guy on the mound, whose name is 3 symbols, absolutely just dominated. He put out an absolute gem out there, and he only gave up 1 earned run. So they won that one. Cashed on my LG Twins money line last night, plus 119. Tonight, a little bit of a later start. Don't know if I'm going to be able to stay up for this whole one. This one doesn't start until 1:30 a.m. But LG Twins Eastern. Again. I'm letting it ride. I'm letting it ride.
And you're getting the plus 155 tonight. I love that.
Plus 155. Okay. I think the title chase has just begun for the LG Twins, and they're sending a message over there to Doosan. And I apologize if I'm mispronouncing that place or whatever that is, company.
So you don't know at this point. It's true. It's true. In fact, the LG and LG Twins is like LG phones and stuff.
No, it stands for Let's Go.
Oh, okay, fine.
Let's Go Twins.
Yeah, the Dinos let me down. Now, interesting trend in the KBO after our Patrick Lyons on the show reported that the balls were going back to being juiced this year. The over-under total runs, which went from 8.5, now they're all in the 9s. We even have a 10. So we're going the other way. Lotte Giants against KT Wiz Suwon. And I think KT Wiz is enough. If he is, he would be too hot to handle even for this show. I'm taking the under on total runs for 10 there. Are they just anticipating that all the aces were out yesterday and now these number 2 pitchers just aren't going to be able to hang?
That's true. I mean, let me tell you, my LG Twins ace, I'm going to get action on him every single time he's out there. This man has a curveball that no one in Korea has ever seen before. Like, no one could touch it except for one guy who went yard on it. That was his one earned run. No one else could touch this thing. And I think I think it was Rudo last night in the DNVR KBO baseball chat said, this is an entire league of people who can't hit curveballs. So my guy with the hook on the Twins, he's getting my bet every day.
I'm going to give you 2 more though, Ryan, because I'm not healthy with being down 1. So I'm going to either put myself in a horrendous KBO hole or I'm going to climb out of it like a champ and be on top starting tomorrow already. So I'm taking the Lotte Giants. We're taking the money line straight up. I'm getting a plus 125 for them to win 2 in a row against KT Wiz. And then against your Twins, I'm taking the defending champs Doosan Bears to bounce back and win tonight.
And you're hitting the money line on that?
I'm hitting the money line.
I'm only going to be able to give you half a win.
That's fine. Should I take the points? I'll take the points.
Okay. I mean,
I'll take the run line. I'll take the run line. I'm taking the Bears at minus 1.5.
Okay. All right. I mean, terrible bet. But you know what? Gotta go
defending champs, baby. When you got the defending champs on your side, there's no stopping you.
I didn't put the disclaimer in front of our KBO talk today. Let me just tell you this. When it comes to the Broncos prop bets, we know what we're talking about.
Right.
When it comes to the KBO, we don't. But my guy Chris Hill is running with me anyway. He's gonna ride, and I guess that means he's fading you, which is great. Anyway, so
we shall see.
We shall see indeed. Unfortunately, you'll probably have to see in the morning, even though I'm tempted to get the old KBO Twitch stream going up again tonight at 1:30, but I don't think it's going to happen. But I think that's going to do it. So, as we said, Drew Lock, over under 20.5. That is the bet to get today. We will be back with you tomorrow with something good, and maybe, just maybe, our first DNVR special tomorrow. I'm really excited if we're able to roll it out. So it should be awesome. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to another edition of DNVR Bets Daily, presented by DraftKings Sportsbook. Shout out DraftKings Sportsbook. Use that code DNVR.